It has no beginning, it has no end. That is the immortality. Whatever has a beginning has an end. Whatever is created has to be destroyed. So every time the thought is born, you are born, but the thought in its very nature is short-lived. So you don't let that thought, you see, to dissolve itself. So you keep it going through this demand for experiences. So when I use the word you, I don't mean that there is an entity who is manipulating the thought, but it is a self-perpetuating mechanism. It perpetuates itself through this constant demand or repetition of the same old thing over and over and over.
As long as this thought is perpetuated, man is doomed to everlasting fear.
Everlasting fear. So he invents all gods, the heavens, the supreme power. There is no power outside of you, whatever power is there in you. So if you put it that way, somebody asks, you see, can you create this universe? So, who the hell do you think has created? Some God created this universe? It's an assumption on your part. We really don't know who created it. Maybe an accident, maybe the conditions on this planet are highly suitable for the evolution of this form of life and the most messiest situation we have created for ourselves. Man can be so proud for having created this mess for himself and for everything that is there on this. If man goes, nothing is lost, sir. Nothing is lost. He will take everything with him. You know what they say? That you see, we have today 1.5 million species of animals on this planet and 500,000 species of plants on this planet of ours. And that represents only 1% of what existed before. The rest of them have become extinct. And the man has appeared on this planet, you see, only a few seconds before in the scheme of things. They say if you take 24 hours, 1 hour as a unit, 59 minutes, 59 seconds, man did not exist on this planet. 1 second. And he thinks he has a right to use everything. He has created disharmony in this world. Nature, you see, when I see a justice like you, I am always reminded. You see, we function, you see, in the field of man-made law, which is interested in punishing, you see, certain deeds and rewarding the man for certain other deeds. But nature only punishes, never rewards. The reward is the harmony. If you are not in harmony with the nature's law, you are punished. Man-made law, you see, can be manipulated because it is within the framework of punishment and reward. So we have created, you see, mess, polluted the sky, polluted the air, polluted the water, polluted everything. It's beyond, you see, recognition. You see, you can't reverse the whole thing. How can you reverse it? There is no way of changing anything there. 100 gods can come, you see, and walk on the face of this earth. They can't do a thing to reverse the whole thing. It's too powerful. Yesterday I was telling you, see, your original Sanat Kumara and Sanat Sujata, when they experienced this bliss, love, compassion, they sowed the seeds of total destruction of mankind. So we don't have to worship them, adore them. Anyway, there were mental images of Brahma, God knows. He was furious, somebody was furious. You can be furious, correct. But you see, this division, is responsible for that.
Even when one is aware of all these myths,
body means are aware, you see that.
Always. Whatever has been.
To know a thing is not to understand it. We know a lot, but we don't do anything. One of the great, what is the word? I don't get the right word. Disservice that Freud has done, the whole psychological thinking of man has done to mankind is to talk of this awareness. The awareness is not separate from the activity of brain. That is why I call Freud the stupendous god of the 20th century. For 100 years we have been influenced by the psychological thinking of man. So it is that is mostly responsible for the continuity of the whole religious thinking of man. It has taken over. you know. But there is nothing that we can do, you see, to reverse the whole thing. If not that, somebody else will do.
Even with regard to infantile memories, when an adult experiences at a later stage.
When our adult experiences, you see, and infantile experiences are not the same, because we are trying to relive through those experiences from this present situation. It is really not possible for us to experience anything, see, that occurred several years before. So from this present situation, you are trying to relive through some experience that occurred decades ago. So this is coloring the experience. So anything we say about the children, it has no meaning at all. It's not possible for us to experience how they are actually functioning. It is not possible for us to share the experience with them.
Even when they project themselves as dream sequences, when those experiences project themselves as dream sequences.
But you see, you are living in a dream world now. You are dreaming. You are not in reality with anything. So that's the reason why you dream when you are asleep.
Would you say so that one cannot transmit one's experience to others?
Even a sex experience, if I may give a crude example, is something which cannot be shared with one who has never had any experience, unless he has a reference point. So, how can you share, even you see, the simple experience of ours? You see, you tell the child not to touch fire. The mother cries day after day, tells the child not to touch the fire. But the child learns only when the child touches the fire. So it is not like that, you see, our experiences. We just talk of that. When once the child experiences this, never will the child touch fire. So you talk of this all the time to the child. I have known, you see, the instances where the mother who has given birth to 10 children trying, you see, to help her daughter giving birth to a child. Impossible. The mother has to go through that, you see, live through that experience. And that in turn can all the time trying to isolate and create, you see, an individual existence of your own, which is not possible because the instrument which you are using is the one that has created you. So there are no individuals at all. Trying to be an individual is an impossible task. The education is trying to create an individual, the culture is trying to create an individual, but it's a well-nigh impossible.
The talk of individual identity, the distinctness.
Personality. You see, character, personality is altogether different because every individual is a unique personality. But the society is not interested in that. You see, it is trying to create what we call character. You see, emphasizing the character rather than giving opportunity for that personality to express itself. When once this kind of a thing occurs, whatever is there able to express without any obstacle, without hindrance.
Don't you think, despite this cultural complexity, that we are different?
You see, we are using the same language with a different accent. The accentuation is different. The accents are different, but basically we are the same. The human nature is exactly the same.
In freedom to experience life is more in the West than here, isn't it?
I don't know what we mean by. You see, they have one of degree. The freedom is one of degree.
But in this country, from the moment
I think
the
India
child is born,
India, to put it in a fact, it is worse there, sir. It is worse there. India had at least greater freedom than other countries. You see, Christianity destroyed, you see, the possibility of any freedom, any dissent, everything they destroyed. Because the religion was so organized there. But here in India, every madcap, you see, had an opportunity to express whatever he wanted to. Now, you see, in the present context, it's going to be suppressed, you see. In the political context, you see, no freedom is going to be allowed here. But religious freedom man had always here in this country. That is why India has produced so many different varieties of teachers, each one with a unique expression of it. In the West, probably 1, 2, 3 saints you have, top saints like Eckhart, Saint Thomas
Equinox.
like that you see very few, the Spanish mystic. But not many, you see, because they destroyed everything. The religion was so organized there. India had a greater freedom in that respect. That's why it has produced so many sparks here. And all that is dead, finished. You see, it has not produced anything. This is what I tell. What are you so proud of? How can India be a model to the world? You have to set your house in order, and our great traditions, culture that we are so proud of,
What have you done?
has produced this something false there. Don't blame yesterday for it.
What is the reason?
They have all failed. All the teachers have failed.
Why, sir?
Why means, you see, it has not touched anything in the animal. He said in the very beginning that we don't want to accept the fact that we are also animals. We are worse than animals. Animals still have the animal instincts. We have lost them all. We haven't developed any human instincts.
Is it we lack robustness of feeling, sir? The intensity of feeling? Or lack of courage?
The culture is responsible for that. There is no use blaming the culture.
No, I mean, we are just trying to understand your point of view, sir. Why is it as a nation? I don't say nation. The fact what are these 60 people are unable to govern themselves properly, we will take it that way. Why is it we have
Because we have not fought for our freedom, sir. Really. It was given to us in a gold platter, and then we mess it.
Philosophy of what people generally.
3 years.
Huh?
And also at the same time to show that you see whatever we are talking about, the state, that doesn't exist. But I have no, it's not a problem. I don't think that solves the problem. It doesn't.
Why this concern to help us?
No, but that seems to be that has been the tradition at least.
Yes, but he says he's a non-traditional man.
No, he may say, but he is still a part of the tradition. Just as I would put you also in that tradition.
You don't put him in the tradition.
What?
You don't put him in the tradition?
In what sense? Huh?
No, you said that you don't put him in the tradition. Or?
No, I am saying he is a part of the tradition.
Yes.
That is how it has been. There was one thought system that was fought by the subsequent man who came and said the whole thing is wrong. And that is what each thinker has been saying. So Gaudapada, even one of the foremost Advaitins, they say that whatever he said is nothing but the Buddhist thinking, what the Buddha said. But he said, no, what I am saying is something unique. Nobody has said this before. It was only Shankara who said that, you see, I am just repeating the tradition. But still he said, all what the others have said is mistaken. I represent the tradition, but still what the others have said are all
Wrong.
not wrong. People are being misled.
But he is repeating the same thing.
The same thing, yes. You see, that's what he says.
These people have been misled by the teachings of others.
Yes.
But he is teaching the same thing. Once again, repeat the mistake.
Well, I don't know if it's that, but anyway, that's what he said. So in fact, even in Krishnamurti, he says there is nothing called the self. So the question of transformation doesn't arise at all. Maybe this realization that there is nothing is the transformation. When I see that there is nothing to be transformed, maybe that itself is a
Then
realization.
why should he talk of transformation, mutation and all that?
But then you know his pet answer, you don't ask a flower why it blooms.
Of course, that is when he says that there is a transformation, there must be a transformation.
No, but in a way, is this not transformation? Is this not transformation? Why do you say this is not transformation? Saying that or seeing the fact that there is nothing to be transformed.
But you would say that there is something to transform.
There is nothing that you can do.
Yes, that is. Uji tells this.
You are pointing out the futility of this attempt.
Yes, but he doesn't see the futility of it. 60 years has been talking. Does he realize the futility even today? He died there. How is he now? Is that right?
Yeah.
Right?
Not this.
Huh?
He is not there in the school.
I don't work there in school anymore.
Does he not give an impression that something can be done?
Yes, he gives.
It's all the time from the
What he's doing. What he's doing.
awareness, choiceless awareness.
But if you read the
Everyone
diaries,
teaches
the
the things.
Krishnamurti journal or notebook,
Uh,
there in many places he has pointed out that in fact the whole thing is there is nothing to be transformed.
all
And
right.
talking the same thing.
Yeah.
That is a neurotic situation.
No, that's not in his case particularly. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Huh?
That is not essentially peculiar to him only.
To him only.
To him only.
It is more neurotic than those who go to the symphony.
No, that of course maybe.
But he doesn't. I mean, he maintains always that there's nothing you can do.
See, to talk of awareness, you see the choiceless awareness. Awareness is an activity of the brain. The dog is more aware than Krishnamurti. So now they say that the awareness can never be separated from the brain. It's an activity like the factory at exists.
Normal.
Yes,
Even the
mobile
physicists
is
are
there.
accepting it.
They are
Normal
accepting it. And so this fellow talking of just being choicelessly aware, the choiceless awareness, you see something is happening and all and everything. Very misleading. Not only that, it's a deliberate attempt on his part to give lot of hope. Nothing will ever come out of that.
No, but in your own case, for example, you see, up to 49 years there was some kind of research and all that was going on.
That is
But
inevitable.
then,
That's inevitable.
that's inevitable.
Inevitable.
Yeah, but
you
then
see,
at the
but
49
can you suggest anything after that? After that, you see, until that point, yes. After that, I will never suggest anything that I rejected, that choked me.
No,
So
but
you cannot but help it. You see, somewhere along the line, you have to realize for yourself and by yourself that it is not leading you anywhere.
No, but if one goes through.
JK's case, it was different. Something happened to him, all right. He wound up that organization. If it was real, so why again stop giving lectures and so much organization has been won? I mean,
It's different. He gives explanation, political explanation he gives, you see. My organization is different, you see. That
What can you
organization.
say? No.
Yeah, people swallow all that, you see.
No, I'm asking
Keeping
you
aside
that,
organization, you see, that's I thought that too silly a thing to, because that's not important.
That is very important.
But the public is very important.
No, but to what we are discussing, I think it has no relevance.
No, that is the most
Awareness.
important.
We are talking of some hopes,
Yes.
some goal, some awareness.
Yeah, in the teaching, you cannot differentiate teaching and living also. You see, such people.
If it is so,
Lecturers, it is all right, but people like UG and JK, what they teach, what they preach, what they live. So if their life is different from their
no.
teaching.
I will ask you one question. Mr. Prakash, I will ask you one question. Okay, I don't care for the organization. If JK disassociates himself, suppose he disassociates and he is going everywhere on his own, he is giving lectures, and the organization is going its own way, but he is everything going according to organization himself fancies, you see. He is there organizing his lectures, he is coming exactly at that time, he is giving lectures. So why should he associate himself with the organization like
That is
this?
for practical reasons he will
Yeah.
say. That is not the point, you see.
Practical.
No, but I would like to see if this realization, as UG calls it, you see, keeping life at the source. Once that has taken place in a person, why should we, you see, who have no idea about what they are talking, think that they should express it only along these lines?
But you see, that is the escape you have. That they have hit the same thing. And the expressions are bound to be different.
That's correct. That seems to be the difference.
The assumption on your part. They are not at all the same.
They are not the same in the sense there are certain differences.
No, they have not touched anything there.
In a sense, there is nothing to be touched. Is there?
Nothing going to touch.
No, whatever, even realization of that.
Realization of that cannot be transmitted to anyone.
Yeah, it cannot be transmitted, okay, that's fine.
So you don't start schools and brothels, you see, organization. Or say that there is no teaching, no teacher, no taught, and yet you do everything to preserve for posterity the purity of the teaching of a man. What arrogance, impudence!
So when I say why is it not possible for a person to express in that way?
What way?
The way that man is doing.
No, but you are.
Or what the Buddha did.
There is an implication that there is something that you can do to touch that. There is an implication. You can't deny that. You see, you can cover it up. You see, with phrases. You see, that is the problem there.
They are giving hopes.
No, but if one really reads or listens, in fact, there is no hope. In fact, many people have complained that that man doesn't give anything. You know, some of the people who have gone mad, some IIT chaps I know who have gone mad after listening to Krishnamurti. And in fact, in one of the introductions to that nameless experience by that Rohit Mehta, in the introduction itself, he says that some IIT fellow has said that he's gone mad after listening to Krishnamurti because there's no hope.
You don't have to listen to Krishnamurti to go mad, you see. He is genetically programmed to go mad. So maybe this triggered or something. I don't agree that he does not give anything. That the way I understood it.
There is an appearance of...
not appearance, there is very much.
He is so much concerned about the world's disorder. He always says, we have order in our mind and then so that all will be not. He is just daydreaming. He is giving a hope, definitely something, as if something we can do. Then what he has been doing for 50 years, is something happening really?
60 years.
60 years, something happened. I mean, has anybody has put it to single fellow at least who could come near that? I mean, who could keep his mind in order? What is talking about order? Where is the order?
Usually was telling that he used to ask, anybody got it, sir?
Somebody got it.
Yeah.
Somebody
got it.
Even
I got it. I felt like kicking that bastard, you see, and drown him with heavy stones and a rope that will never rot.
That will give
so
you
that it will not float again. What nonsense.
No, that he does very often, even the teachers' meeting. Are you getting? Is at least one teacher here who has got it.
What does it mean, sir? There's something to get there? It's there.
So my point is, what
That's what I see.
Is it possible to see?
No, whether it's possible to see or not.
There is
but
no
you see, one has-
seeing.
Yeah, then maybe
There is
yes.
no seeing, I say. Not the possibility. There is no seeing there. Seeing implies two.
You see, but language has to be used in a
But
certain way.
what do you mean? You see, the language.
When you are trying to tell me
I am
something,
saying, you see, it's not possible, there is no seeing. From the beginning to the end, I am saying there is nothing there to be transformed. There is no business, I have no business to tell you that there is awareness, choicelessly aware. Don't, what is it?
no, you may not be saying that, but the other person is saying
The
that.
other person is a fraud as well as I am concerned. He deluded himself to such an extent, that is, and he raised it to such a fine art that he has succeeded in trapping a few people in that thing. So, you can listen to him 100 years and he can go on talking for 100 years. Nothing is going to happen to anybody.
That may be so.
It is so, not maybe so.
See, he opens his lecture, by condemning all the books. Don't read any news advices. Don't read any.
No, I am not interested in that. We are
in.
interested in the basic
Yes.
situation. The other thing is a drama, theatre.
He is just saying.
He's an actor, you see. That's no, we don't.
He has published so many books.
That's all right. You see.
Yeah,
We have also published one book here. That's not the point. That's not what I am pointing at.
Basic.
Basic thing, you see. Both is better than Aurobindo, you see. This time Ramakrishna admitted to me. That fellow didn't make it, Aurobindo.
Yeah, that's like he was in some kind of a trance and he was caught in that.
Krishnamurti, some phony status. Of course, the otherness and whatever. Poetry.
Why does he give private personal
Why
interviews?
not? Yes. That's so many people come and then.
One
I have nothing
Yeah,
against
those
that.
things are-
Giving lectures, I have nothing against that kind of a thing. Publishing books and. But,
He was speaking from a platform.
hmm?
He was speaking from a platform.
That's his business. I'm not interested, you see. That I talk to one person or get up on a platform and talk to 10,000 people. There's no difference between the two. I'm not condemning that at all. Not
The
condemning
reality
that at
must
all.
be. The reality must be.
He's not honest, brother. He's a dishonest pastor. Has he anything? I doubt it. That's not my question. I'm not interested. Picked up some psychological jargon, add some mystical twist at the end, and indulge in some poetry. And people fall for it. And he has this charm. He's a first class actor. He's acted all his life. He does not know that he's acting. He's an actor right through. First as a world teacher, not a world teacher. Again, you see, I'm a teacher. My teaching will last for 500 years. That's what Lembeda said. It's Buddha, the teaching as it is. He is a medium, you see. I don't like to use the word medium because you see, that raises a lot of questions.
Medium of what?
Medium of what? Like those fellows, medium, some gospel, some spoke. Talking to him off his platform, he is vicious and malicious.
Yeah,
He is vicious and malicious.
that's what I was also told.
Off
His
the
close
platform.
friends have said that.
Vicious, malicious. The fellow who made such dirty remarks about Rajagopal, you won't even touch him with a barge pole. You throw it in the gutter, garbage. He can have thousands of followers. Schools, freedom, atmosphere, whatever, Krishnamurti, and brothels, prostitution. Promising something that cannot be delivered.
Don't you see a single redeeming feature?
Not one redeeming feature. I'm sorry, not one. In Freud, stupendous fraud of the 20th century, J. Krishnamurti, stupendous hoax of the 20th century. This is my final word. Not that he cares, but that's going to stay there. It's there in the books, it will remain there. From the beginning until the end, it is a hoax. Hoax is not a bad word, you see. Hoax himself into this belief. It is a great teacher who should come to save the world from the traditional stranglehold. So what is the point of dragging all the students and taking them to Mustachar and watch this sun setting? Because that bastard Bapu writes about sunsets and sunrises. How can he talk of poetry, you see? Where is the division? Can you look at the sun, first of all, and talk in that strain, the beauty and the... What is he talking? Some mistake, cheap mistake, you see. That's all. Very cheap mistake, yes. That's what happens. Talking of angels following.
That is not so.
Second volume, I read that, you see, second volume, of course. If something is wrong, the whole thing is rotten. Talking to the death you see on the operation table. I'm glad Lulu forced that book on me, you see. So what I held, you see, for years.
What is that book?
So
Disgusting.
in fact, that disappointed me a lot.
What is that book?
First part,
Years
I
of
don't
fulfillment.
mind. Years of
Years of
fulfillment.
fulfillment.
Yeah, that was just
After
he was
years of
just saying
awakening.
the thing that happened, but this one's really disappointing.
Not only disappointing, disgusting.
After this years of awakening.
Yeah. No, I never thought that they would publish such a thing. It's also all sorts of ridiculous things. It's sitting with the
Miracles.
doctor's table and talking
Talking to
with
the death. What
and
are you talking? Huh?
the funniest part is that he reviews his own book there. That looked really silly because he says that this man has gone beyond your conscience and
I see.
yes,
There.
Yes, he reviews his own book for fun. It's all
Yeah.
right. Like Nehru, he wrote articles condemning him. National Herald, his own paper.
Yeah.
And the next day, you see, condemning him, another day praising him. Nobody knew who the writer was. And the politician understands power. There is nothing to that man. Some pretty little experience. Little experience he had. Let's see if you see the evolution of his teaching, say from the beginning, he was talking in those days to create a new lingo. They very successfully created a lingo and track people. And people repeat that empty words, empty phrases. So I said they are empty even in his own case.
A good language, but good language.
Yes. Outdated, outmoded, passe.
Everybody will have an attraction.
So something happened to him in his 1960, you see. Up to that point, he maintained the integrity.
Oh, it's It's not recorded anywhere.
He fell ill, you see, and he almost collapsed. You know, I went talking, he was very ill. He almost died.
60s, 1960.
1960. Then started, you see, the secretary. No, like in the same case, you see, Savyama, they took over. So that is the kind of people he's leaving behind, you see.
Well, thousands of people gathering in somewhere.
Thousands of people gathering, but what is this thousand? There are other people. Sai Baba trusts 2 lakhs of people. If that is the criteria of a successful teacher, what about 2 lakhs of people? Huh?
Credit should go to Sai Baba.
Credit should go to Sai Baba.
No, I don't think that's the measure by which you judge. No. I think more, as you say, the next generation is to want to come and take over, if at all there is something. What kind of the people are they?
30 years he has run that school, Rishi Baba school. He has not produced one.
60.
Worldwide.
It's 60, so 55 years or so.
No, he started in 47, 48 when he came to India.
No, earlier I think there was years of yeah, that has nothing to do with it.
I remember because I voted for that. The Indian section was managing. Mehta pursued handing over that school. And then he started, that was originally Rishi Baba Trust.
Yeah, Rishi Baba Trust.
And so we had to hand over to his new education foundation.
The stone slab is still there, Rishi Baba Trust.
Foundation for New Education. He started that in Benares. Both of them belong to the Rishi Baba Trust. 48, I think, he took over. So 48 plus how many years? 30.
36 years.
36 years. 36 years he has run that school in one generation. 30 years. What has come out of that school? He himself. See, if you start a school, otherwise, as I was saying, you can harangue on the platform, deliver wonderful, romantic stuff in education, the significance of life, etc., awakening of intelligence. But when you have an institution, you have to show that it is different and distinct from other schools, and the products of those schools are different. Every time, even today, he says, I have nothing to do with it. Like Gandhi always saying, I'm not even a foreigner member. It was a joke. Sure. Without his name, you see, you start a school. Anybody can start a school these days because there is such a great demand in living out of the school. But exploit the name of Krishnamurti. Why do you have to call it Vivekananda school, Sri Ramakrishna school, or Sai Baba school? Using the name, you see, because he happens to have a name.
But in the final analysis, in one particular notebook, there is a statement where it talks of physiological change. That if there is no physical change, the psychological state cannot happen, or what the psychological transformation that he is talking about cannot occur. This is in the notebook. There he talks only about himself. That is why I am referring to that.
Yes, he
Not the public
changes.
talks, not the group discussion and all that.
The pain and
Yes, he only talks of the physiological aspects there.
I don't know, I don't get that.
physiological aspects, not in that detail.
Notebooks. No, not in this detail. In fact, there also you find some poetry.
He talks only about the pain. Nothing. See, he doesn't mention that what exactly he means by the physiological changes.
No, those things, he doesn't go into details.
No, he says that the pain was there. Pain. He repeats every 4 or 5 pages, pain. He repeats that there is there. Pain was there.
No, but is that not sufficient indication that...
But why doesn't he see, if that is the case, why talk on the psychological? You see, this fellow also said, electrons we have not seen, but how can you say that the physiological things have taken place, changes have taken place without a cause? It is a causal.
Yeah, he says the same thing. It is a causal.
Look, you see, either he is a dishonest bastard or you see, just for the sake of running a show, if he is doing all this, it's not worth listening to that fellow at all. He's not honest. If there is no
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So this was my question, is you have deliberately created this teaching as a means of self-aggrandizement, or something is wrong with you. This I asked him long time ago.
So
what is there behind the abstractions you are throwing at me?
So is it possible for a person to be in your state, or this state, whatever it is,
Yes.
and at the same time have a selfish...
Obviously, he is not in the state. Obviously, he is not.
Selfish
If that is the question which you are posing,
Yes, it is not.
throwing at me, he is not. No. He cannot talk of changing the world. Not at all.
No, in fact, he is not talking about changing the world in that sense. Of course, from platform, yes. But
How do you differentiate the two?
no, I'm just sticking to the essentials.
The essence is nonsense. If the soul itself is wrong, if it expresses it, if it builds a body like this, by himself, it's rotten. If somebody else does it, you see, it is all right. He cannot be a participant.
Must tell the truth.
Yes, Ramakrishna's disciple did all this mischief, that bastard Vivekananda.
Yeah.
So you cannot blame him for that. You see, these are our contemporaries. He was not my contemporary. Vivek did all the mischief.
Yeah, that is.
So if somebody else does it, you see, my name or his name, that's a different matter. You are there, you are the president, you are signing all those papers. Don't tell me that. Krishnamurti Limited is there.
That, of course, I see.
But Ramana Maharshi did not participate in that.
He did not
Yes,
step
I
into
did.
it. So what about the Buddha?
Buddha, we don't know. All the whole Buddhism came 500 years after his death. What he did, you see, he did organize the whole thing.
Yeah, Sangha was
He
formed when
created
he was
a
very much...
Sangha formed. You see, Buddha also... No, sorry. So I'm not saying that I'm superior to them.
No.
All of them are false.
Also in the sense they have given us hope.
Those who have participated in in uplifting the mankind, saving the mankind.
The whole Eightfold Path
Any of such actions
was formulated 500 years after his death. There was no Eightfold Path. But the very Sangha and admitting members into that fold and changing the color of the robes instead of the...
There also you see there is one biography that has come out. In that they say it was Ananda who played all the mischief.
But now we cannot say.
Yeah, of course, whatever it is. Now, based on the literacy that is available.
There may be a lot of distortions. But, recent ones you can compare. Only these two you can see.
These are within the traditional framework.
Hmm.
And you say that it's non-traditional. Non-traditional is the same. They start school, you start school. There's something wrong there. If you start a school, you settle for a cheap thing.
But even those who were against tradition, Buddha and Mahavir, both were against tradition. They rebelled, but still they started schools.
Yes, that's all. Something wrong. You see, it's a
They-
reactionary.
they-
That's
they
all.
did not-
Krishnamurti is a
they may
reactionary.
have started this course.
Krishnamurti is a reactionary, he's not a revolutionary. The only revolution is a bosh and nonsense. There's nothing revolutionary there, you see. You do the same thing.
Even Ramakrishna Paramahansa and Ramana, they did not start anything. This as I have put it, they follow us.
No, but both Ramana and Ramakrishna have made their position very clear.
That's all.
Why doesn't this phony? He's a phony. It doesn't make the position very clear. Make it
Yes.
deliberately ambiguous to play the game. He's playing a game, you see.
Yeah, clear.
So they are part of the tradition that they accept that.
Even you can even exonerate Shankara because he did not start it. Vidyaranya started the whole business. They had the royal patronage and all of them afterwards. I don't know about Madhvacharya, but when this royal patronage crept into his system, I don't know. But Ramanujacharya had everything, the royal patronage. Without that, you see, how can these religions flourish? The teachings, otherwise, even Jesus would have remained a cult figure of a very small group. You see. Christianity, Islam, Buddhism became the instruments of power. Asoka used it as an instrument of power, aggrandizement. And so when Buddhism spread to Japan, horror, violence, destruction in the name of Buddha, you see. So, how can you exonerate the teachers? The teaching has resulted in that, you see. Taoism is out of 80 verses in China. They were only interested in the immortality of the body. I think that's, how could they create a religion like Taoism in China? It's beyond me. From the 84 verses of the fellow Lao Tse, who left behind? So anything is possible. Why do they have to finally settle for temples? There's a talk that they are going to build meditation cells in Brockwood School. I don't know if it's true or not. You can consider him as a thinker, an original thinker. And unfortunately, you see, the element of religion he has put into that. That's all. Stripped of that is just an intellectual stuff, nothing else. The mystical overtones he gives to establish himself as a teacher, otherwise he's just a thinker, like anything. At least Sartre and others, even Radhakrishnan, I gather, admitted that. See, what he wrote had nothing to do with this. Yeah. And Sartre said, you see, that being all those were imaginary experiences, they were honest. You see. And this fellow would never come out honest. Never. I don't have the respect I have even for the ordinary ugly saint we have in the marketplace. They don't know. You see, they are kidding themselves and kidding others. That is understandable. Here is a chappie who claims something extraordinary, and yet you see indulging in this deception. And then you see trapping all the people in the game. It's inexcusable. They don't win what he talks. That's why Ragopal says, I'm leading to that. Don't pay any attention to it. Just a meeting. He said, some spook I will. Some spook is talking to me. Like this auto-writing, what are you talking auto-writing? My cousin there. Extraordinary things she said. Ordinary housewife, put it only stopped with the 5th grade or 4th grade. Tremendous. You won't believe that. His teachings.
Yes.
Some fellow there he wrote all those things, auto writing. These fellows, he cannot even hold candle before what she said. Just he cannot hold a candle. The highest kind, foundation. Defense is offense, boy. When you go to the court, what are you talking? Would you listen to such a man? Huh? For any reason, if somebody deduces you out of 5 rupees, and somebody deduces me out of, you see, $2,000, it's the same whether it's 5 rupees or... Would I go to the court? Would you go to the court? If somebody else drags you, it's a different matter. You yourself go there as a plain thing. Thank God. You won't touch that, you see. Okay? But he's going again to the court to get hold of all those books, notebooks. Huh? That book, second book, finished.
Yeah. That's true.
That puts him where he actually belongs. Some manic depressive.
Years of
Paranoid.
fulfillment. Fulfillment.
Paranoid situation.
He commits suicide.
Oh.
Chairman.
No, he won't commit. He's too clever for that.
Because recently something happened to say about distant relations. He was giving lectures for 40 years. He used to draw curves like anything you see about 10,000, 15,000. All very great man. Very handsome. Very wonderful orator. You see, wonderful orator.
Yes.
Yes. For 50 years. Not 50 years, 40 years. That's what it is. He started his Kameshwar. Very
So many people,
Ramatirath
committed suicide.
Then what happened was, last 4 years.
And this fellow listening, Raghavendra Rao committed suicide.
Raghavendra Rao.
Raghavendra Swami. His wife committed suicide, he also, but he said, what are you
And he was giving lectures, people thought this fellow was a realized soul.
Raghavendra Swami.
And
mantra,
you know how he committed suicide? If I stay there in my hometown, how he committed suicide, you know, not in that village, in his village, Panuku. He fell in the public well. There was fell in his he earned about 50 lakh worth of rupees, you know, just by giving lectures. He got 2 buildings in that Perikonda or something like that. Very rich. He had got 2 sons. And a beautiful wife, everything was wonderful, but he didn't know how to live. He stopped giving lectures because he was sick. And very recently I attended a marriage when I was there. He fell in a public hall in Thailand.